Download this code from codegive.com, link in the description below. Deploying a static web app with Azure Portal, a comprehensive tutorial. This tutorial will guide you through deploying a static web app to Azure using the Azure Portal. We'll cover everything from understanding static web apps and Azure Static Web Apps service to setting up your project, configuring your deployment, and even exploring some advanced features. What is a static web app? A static web app is a web application that primarily consists of client-side code, such as HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and images. Unlike traditional server-rendered applications, example those built with PHP, Python, or node.js with server-side rendering, static web apps do not require a constantly running server to serve the core content. This makes them incredibly fast, scalable, and cost-effective. Examples of static web apps include personal websites, blogs, portfolios, online resumes. Documentation sites, API documentation, user guides. Single-page applications, SPAs applications built with frameworks like React, Angular, or Vue.js. Marketing landing pages, promotional websites for products or services. Why use Azure Static Web Apps? Azure Static Web Apps is a fully managed service provided by Microsoft Azure that automatically builds and deploys full-stack web apps from a GitHub or Azure DevOps repository. It offers several key advantages. Automatic builds and deployments. Azure Static Web Apps integrate seamlessly with your source control provider, GitHub or Azure DevOps. Whenever you push changes to a designated branch, usually main or production, Azure Static Web Apps automatically triggers a build process and deploys the updated application. Global distribution. Azure Static Web Apps automatically distributes your static content globally through Azure's Content Delivery Network, CDN, ensuring fast load times for users around the world. Free SSL certificates. Every static web app deployed with Azure Static Web Apps receives a free, automatically renewed SSL certificate, providing secure HTTPS access. Serverless API support. You can easily add serverless functions, Azure Functions, to your static web app using the built-in API routes. These functions can handle dynamic requests, authentication, and other server-side logic. Custom domains. You can configure your static web app to use a custom domain name, giving it a professional and branded look. Authentication and authorization. Azure Static Web Apps provides built-in authentication and authorization capabilities, allowing you to easily restrict access to certain parts of your application. Pre-production environments. Azure Static Web Apps supports creating pre-production environments, staging environments, for testing and previewing changes before deploying to production. Scalability and reliability. Azure Static Web Apps is built on Azure's highly scalable and reliable infrastructure, ensuring your application can handle increased traffic. Prerequisites. 1. Azure subscription. You need an active Azure subscription. If you don't have one, you can create a free Azure account at https://azure.microsoft.com/free/ https://azure.microsoft.com/free. 2. GitHub or Azure DevOps account. You'll need an account on either GitHub or Azure DevOps to store your project's code. 3. Static Web App Project. You need a static web app project ready to be deployed. We'll provide a sample project below. 4. Basic understanding of Git and source control. Familiarity with Git and how to use a version control system like GitHub or Azure DevOps is essential. Step-by-step guide to deploying a static web app. 1. Create a sample static web app project, optional, but recommended. If you don't have a static web app project already, let's create a simple one using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. This example will show a basic hello, world, page with a bit of styling. Create the following files in a new directory, example my static app. *index.html *styles.css 2. Create a Git repository, GitHub or Azure DevOps. 1. Initialize a Git repository * in your project directory, run the following command. 2. Add files to the repository *. 3. Create a repository on GitHub or Azure DevOps *. GitHub * go to https://github.com/new, https://github.com/new, and create a new repository. Make sure to choose a public or private repository as needed. You can leave initialize this repository with the README unchecked. Azure DevOps * go to your Azure DevOps organization and create a new project. Then, within the project, navigate to repos and create a new repository. Choose Git as the type of repository. 4. Push your local repository to the remote repository *. GitHub * follow the instructions on GitHub for, or push an existing repository from the command line to connect your local repository to your GitHub repository and push your code. The commands will look something like this. Replace your _GitHub _repo URL with the actual URL of your GitHub repository. Azure DevOps * follow the instructions on Azure DevOps to push an existing Git repository. Similar to GitHub, you'll use git remote add origin and git push origin main, or the appropriate branch name. 3. Create an Azure static web app using the Azure portal ***. 1. Log into the Azure portal ***. Go to https://portal.azure.com/ https://portal.azure.com, and log in with your Azure account credentials. 2. Search for static web apps * in the search bar at the top of the portal, type static web apps and select it from the results. 3. Click Create * on the static web apps page, click the Create button. 4. Configure the static web app * fill in the following information. Subscription * select the Azure subscription you want to use. Resource group * create a new resource group, example my static web app RG, or select an existing one. Resource groups are logical containers for organizing related Azure resources. Name * give your static web app a unique name, example my static web app. The name must be globally unique within Azure. Hosting plan * choose either the free or standard plan. The free plan is suitable for personal projects and learning, while the standard plan offers more features and resources for production environments. Region * select a region that is geographically close to your users. Source * choose either GitHub or Azure DevOps depending on where your code is stored. Details * organization * select the GitHub organization or Azure DevOps organization that contains your repository. Repository * select the repository you created in step 2. Branch * select the branch you want to deploy from, usually main or production. Build details * application * the path to your application code within the repository, example / for the root directory. If you're using a framework like React or Vue.js, this will typically be the directory where your index.html file and other static assets are located after the build process, often the dist or build directory. API location * the path to your Azure Functions API code, if you have any. If you don't have any, leave this blank. Asterisk output location asterisk the directory where the build static assets are placed by your build process. For a simple HTML/CSS/JavaScript app like the example, leave this blank or set to / if it's the root of the repository. If you're using a framework like React, this will usually be the dist or build directory. Asterisk example settings for our simple HTML/CSS/JavaScript app asterisk. Asterisk app location asterisk / asterisk API location asterisk, leave blank. Asterisk output location asterisk / 5 review plus create asterisk review your configuration and click the review plus create button. 6 create asterisk after validation passes, click the create button to start the deployment process. 4. Monitor the deployment asterisk. 1 Deployment progress asterisk the Azure portal will display a notification about the deployment in progress. You can click on the notification to view the deployment status. 2 GitHub/Azure DevOps Actions asterisk Azure Static Web Apps creates a GitHub action or Azure pipeline in your repository to handle the build and deployment process. You can view the status of the action/pipeline in your repository. 3 Deployment completion asterisk once the deployment is complete, your deployment is complete message will appear in the Azure portal. 5. Access your deployed web app asterisk. 1 Go to the static web app resource asterisk navigate to the static web app resource in the Azure portal. 2 Browse URL asterisk on the overview page. You'll find the URL of your deployed web app. Click on this URL to access your static web app in a web browser. You should now see your Hello World static web app live and accessible on the internet. Example, deploying a React app. Let's say you have a React application created with Create React App. Here's how you would configure the static web app settings differently. 1 Build your React app asterisk run npm run build or yarn build in your React project to create a production build. This will typically create a build directory. 2 Update static web app configuration asterisk. App location asterisk / this is still the root of the repository. API location asterisk, leave blank if you don't have any Azure Functions APIs. Output location / build, this tells Azure Static Web Apps to serve the files from the build directory. When you save the changes, the GitHub Actions / Azure pipeline will trigger automatically, build your React application, and deploy the contents of the build directory to Azure Static Web Apps. Advanced features and configurations custom domains to configure a custom domain name for your static web app, go to the custom domains section in the Azure portal and follow the instructions. You'll need to update your DNS records to point to your static web app. Authentication and authorization Azure Static Web Apps offers built-in authentication and authorization with providers like GitHub, Twitter, and Azure Active Directory. Configure these providers in the authentication section of the Azure portal. Serverless API, Azure Functions to add serverless APIs to your static web app, create an API folder in your repository. Inside this folder, create Azure Functions using the Azure Functions Core Tools or the Azure portal. The API location setting in the static web app configuration should point to this API folder. Azure Static Web Apps automatically handles routing requests to your API functions. Pre-production environments, staging environments create a pull request against your main branch, and Azure Static Web Apps will automatically create a pre-production environment for you to test your changes before merging them into production. This feature is available in the standard tier. Environment variables to configure environment variables for your static web app, use the configuration section in the Azure portal. You can set environment variables that are available to your build process and your Azure Functions APIs. Sensitive information should be stored in Azure Key Vault and referenced from the static web app using managed identities. Troubleshooting ** deployment failures ** if your deployment fails, check the GitHub Actions/Azure pipeline logs for errors. Common causes include build errors, incorrect configuration settings, or permission issues. Incorrect file paths * double check that your app location and output location settings are correct. These settings are crucial for Azure static web apps to find your application code and serve the correct files. Caching issues * sometimes, browsers or CDNs can cache old versions of your files. Try clearing your browser cache or purging the CDN cache in the Azure portal. Code example, Azure function. If you want to add an Azure function to your static web app, here's a simple example. Create an API folder in your repository and add the following files. *API/hello/index.js*. *API/hello/function.json*. Then, set the API location in your static web app configuration to /API. You can access this function from your static web app by making a request to /API/hello. Conclusion *. Azure Static Web Apps provides a convenient and powerful platform for deploying static web applications. By following this tutorial, you should be able to deploy your own static web app to Azure quickly and easily. Remember to explore the advanced features and configurations to tailor your deployment to your specific needs. Enjoy building and deploying your web applications.